The alley reeked of burnt copper and ash. Darren Vale pressed his back against the cold stone wall, his breath coming in ragged gasps as blood seeped through his fingers. 5 wounds, 5 blades that had found their marks before he'd managed to disarm the last assassin. But the child was safe. The small dragon hatchling, no larger than a house cat, trembled behind him, its iridescent scales catching the faint moonlight. Lyrics, the child had called itself in a voice like wind chimes. The assassins had come for the young dragon with poisoned steel and cold determination, but they hadn't counted on a human refusing to step aside. Stupid, Darren muttered to himself, sliding down the wall as his legs gave out. So incredibly stupid. He'd been a cargo hauler, nothing more. A human making his way through the Dragon Kingdom's trade routes, keeping his head down and his manifest clean. The dragons tolerated humans in their territories, barely, treating them as curiosities at best and nuisances at worst. Humans were weak, short-lived, and utterly unremarkable in a galaxy where dragons commanded starships with their minds and bent gravity to their will. But when those assassins had cornered Lyrics in the market district, when the small dragon had looked up at him with ancient eyes full of terror, Darren hadn't thought about politics or survival. He'd simply stepped between the blades and the child. "Thank you," Lyrics whispered, pressing close to Darren's side. "Thank you, Darren Vale." "Don't mention it, kid," Darren said, his vision blurring. The wounds were bad, really bad. He could feel his life bleeding out onto the cobblestones. "You should probably get out of here. Find your parents." "They're dead," Lyric said quietly. "That's why the assassins came." Darren wanted to respond, wanted to offer comfort, but darkness was pulling at him like a tide. His last conscious thought was a simple one. At least he'd done something that mattered. Waking up was unexpected. Darren's eyes snapped open to blinding white light and the sensation of lying on something far softer than an alley floor. He bolted upright, immediately regretting it as pain lanced through his torso. Except it wasn't the burning agony he'd expected. It was more like the deep ache of bruised muscles. "Easy, human," a rumbling voice said. Darren's head whipped around. He was in a vast chamber with walls that seemed to be carved from a single massive crystal. Sunlight, or something like it, filtered through in rainbow cascades. And surrounding his bed were dragons. Not small ones like Lyrics. These were full-grown dragons, each easily the size of a building in their true forms, though they'd compressed themselves to fit the space. Their scales ranged from deep crimson to midnight blue to molten gold. Each one radiated power that made Darren's teeth ache. "Where?" Darren started. "The Citadel of Eternal Flame," another dragon said, this one with scales like polished silver. "You're in the heart of the Dragon Kingdom, Darren Vale, quite far from any place a human should be." Darren's hand went to his chest, feeling for the wounds. Beneath the simple tunic someone had dressed him in, he found only raised scars. "I should be dead." "You should be," the first dragon agreed. Its eyes were like molten amber. 5 mortal wounds. "You'd lost nearly half your blood when young Lyrics brought you here, but the child insisted we save you. Made quite the scene, actually. Threatened to burn down the healing chambers if we refused." "Despite everything," Darren smiled, "that kid's got spirit." "That child," the silver dragon said coolly, "is Lyric Stormwind, last heir to the Northern Star clan, one of the most powerful bloodlines in the kingdom. The assassins sought to end that line. You prevented that." The weight of those words settled over Darren like a physical thing. He'd saved dragon royalty without even knowing it. "We should send you home," a third dragon spoke, its scales a deep forest green. "Reward you, certainly. Gold, perhaps a small estate on one of the outer colonies. But send you away nonetheless." "However," the amber-eyed dragon interrupted, "there is a complication." "Complication?" Darren echoed. The silver dragon shifted, and suddenly Lyrics tumbled out from behind its bulk, scrambling across the floor to Darren's bedside. The small dragon launched itself onto the bed, wings fluttering. "You saved me," Lyrics chirped. "Nobody's ever done that before. The others said humans don't have courage, that they only think of themselves. But you took 5 blades and you didn't even hesitate and—" "Lyrics," the amber-eyed dragon said gently. "Breathe. The hatchling gulped air, then looked up at Darren with absolute adoration. I've bonded to you. Darren blinked. You've what? Dragon bonds are rare, the green dragon explained. They form when a dragon experiences a moment of absolute salvation, when another being risks everything without expectation of reward. The bond cannot be broken, cannot be denied. Lyrix's soul is now intertwined with yours. But I'm human, Darren protested. I'm nobody. I haul cargo for a living. You were a cargo hauler, the silver dragon corrected. Now, you are something else entirely. The amber-eyed dragon rose to its full height within the chamber. Darren Vale, the bond between you and Lyric Stormwind is sacred and eternal. By our laws, you are now recognized as the child's guardian and protector, and since Lyrics is heir to a great clan, you must be trained to fulfill that role. Trained? Darren's mind was reeling. Welcome, the silver dragon said, and there was something almost like approval in its ancient eyes. To the citadel of eternal flame. You are now a candidate for the Guardian Corps, the finest protectors in the Dragon Kingdom. We will teach you to fight, to strategize, to move between worlds. We will enhance you with techniques that few humans have ever survived learning. It will be agonizing, the green dragon added matter-of-factly. Most candidates fail, many die, but you've already proven you possess the one quality we cannot teach. What's that? Darren asked weakly. All three dragons spoke in unison. The willingness to sacrifice everything for another. Lyrics pressed against Darren's side, purring like distant thunder. We'll learn together, the young dragon said. I'll get strong enough to protect myself, and you'll become the greatest guardian in the kingdom. Darren looked around at the assembled dragons, at the impossible situation he'd stumbled into, at the small dragon who'd somehow chosen him, despite every logical reason not to. He thought about his old life. Quiet, safe, unremarkable. Then he thought about 5 blades and a child's terrified eyes, and he realized he'd already made his choice back in that alley. When do we start? Darren asked. The amber-eyed dragon showed its teeth in what might have been a smile. Now,